Hello my lovely spectators, Dee Dee here. Welcome to my studio. So, I am doing a video for Mass Make March that popped out of the blue. Not, well, out of the blue because I hadn't seen it yet, but Miss Gayle Castanelle, she did this thing that was a viewer request for a faux envelope front or something like that. I'll link the video in the description below. So, you can take a look at that. We need envelopes and we need some paper. And I thought it was really cute and I thought it fit the idea of a mass make. I think she might have even said that. So I had picked up these. I believe they have envelopes in here. $2.50 Ollie's, you know, Cricut stuff. Hey. And I'm going to use this paper pad, which is also from Ollie's. It's a die cuts with a view premium stack. This guy was only $2. And look, it has vintage. It is a vintagey looking paper. So let's grab some envelopes out of this package. And you know me, we need to do like, I don't know, 10 at least minimum. So let's see what's in here. Okay, so this guy has a lot of tape going on over here and whatnot. So I mean, I'm not going to use this plastic because it's all scuffed up. I might have used it for like a window or something. Oh, here's another piece of tape. Okay. These windows, well, not the windows. The envelopes seem to be a square shape. So we're going to see what we're going to see through that. Okay, so I got it open. It was making a lot of noise. Yes, I'm going to hold on to this because I'm not using. But what comes in here was really cool because, you know, for $2.50, you get a pretty good amount of stuff from this thing. So these are some sparkly bits, which, you know, will go in the stash. It also comes with some cards. Nice. You know what? I'm going to keep the cards out. Maybe we might incorporate. Don't know quite yet. Let's see. Oh, white cards as well. Nice. Oh, so okay, so all of these guys are and here's our envelopes. So we're going to keep the cards in the envelopes. We're going to put the sparkly bits away for another day, for another project. And we're going to keep it moving. Now, these are a little bit smaller, of course, than the ones that she was using. But the idea of using this to create what it was that she did just was like, I gotta try that. So this is good cardstock. Let's see. Does it have a white background? I feel kind of in the dark. Hold up a second. Let me add some light here. Okay, there we go. Let's fix that. Cause yeah, I was feeling a little bit dark. I was feeling in the dark. And so I want to make sure we're not getting too much glare. All right, bringing you up to see everything because I'm gonna have to cut some papel, and then let me push my laptop so that my little DDS Studio 12 by 12 space is maximized. Okay, adjustments made. So there's no color on the inside, so that's good to know. We've got the cream, the white, and this beige. No, it's not beige. It's like a khaki color. I don't know. It has like a pinky undertone, but I think it's gonna go well. So we're gonna have these. So let's see. Let's see. One. I might be able to get away with using one of these colors from each, so that I'm downsizing the amount that I have by an equal amount, even though I'm going to use up a ton of envelopes. Let's do 3. No, let's do 4, and then another 4, and then another 4. So that's 12. So we have quite a few left. So how many? 2. I mean, it probably says it on the container, right? Why am I counting over here? 40. No, 35. 35. So you get 35 in here. 35 bases, meaning the cards, I guess. 35 of these little glittery things. This was a bargain. I did grab a few of them, so they may pop out because I was like, wait a minute, where are my envelopes? Anyhow. All right, so we're going to need to cut out some tabs, which is what I'm going to use the card for, the card bases. They have a nice texture, like a linen, if you can hear that. And the envelopes are squares. They are 5 by 5, okay, and they have this really deep V, right? So we're actually going to work on the opposite side. Now, let me grab my tab punch. Where should we? Now, you can use the regular tab punch, right? Which might be the way to go because the whale one is a little bit big, but we always love the whale one, so let's grab that one instead. We will need ink because you know we love to ink. Okay, we love to ink, so let's grab our little our ink stash here. I'm going to use probably Vintage Photo, or going to use Ground Espresso. So, well, he's kind of fuzzing, so you know what, we're just going to stick to the Vintage Photo. Okay, and so we're going to need to cut tabs for the project, so let's do that. Let's just do things in mass make format, right? We're going to do all what we can do, you know. So I'm using this because I actually can just, you know, go up in here, I find the slot, and cut this out. 1, 2, oh, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. I hate that. All right. I'm going to be a little bit kooky in that I am going to cut. Where's my scissors that I want to use today? I'm going to cut the card first because I want to maximize, you know, and so I'm going to need that, and then I'm going to need to fold this over right here, and I need to get 2 more of this color because we have 4. I'm going to do 4 with different accents, I guess, and then this, okay, and yes, we might be using that, and we probably could use this as well. We'll clean up the edges and everything else as we go. Now, if you've known me, I'm going to take my hole punch and punch a bunch of circles out and keep those in my stash. Anyway, so let's do the same thing for both. Okay, all right. So we're going to cut. Let's cut the cutting first. Right, so I'm just approximating. Like I said, we'll clean it up later. I don't want to cut this one, so kind of cut it as straight as possible. Okay, let's do our 2 tabs. 1, 2, and then again 1 and 2. We are going to keep that part and this part, okay, and then we're going to fold these bad boys in half to get the other 2 tabs of this color. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. Okay, just realize this got to be burnished well to go into the thing, into the punch. Okay, so punched 1 and then 2. Okay, put that in my stash to harvest later. And then another set of these guys. Okay, so what this is that it's going to be a pocket. It is a pocket in essence because it's an envelope, right? But it's going to have a little bit of a tuck space. It's a multi-purpose, multi-use kind of situation. So these parts will come later, as well as these will come when they need to come. The next thing we're going to do is cut all the paper that we need to cut. So the idea is, let me put my thing back. You gotta clean up after yourselves or it gets out of hand. So the idea is that we're gonna put I don't want it to be in the center, so maybe a longer envelope probably might be aesthetically more pleasing, but it's all good. So we have 5 inches. I'm just looking at this to kind of guesstimate where I want to cut this at. So probably at 1.5 inches, okay? So 1.5 inches, we're gonna cut a sliver, and then the rest is gonna be what it is, right? So we need a 5x5. So let's cut some paper, and then I'll show you the future process of that. Okay, this was premature. We're gonna move it out of our way. And put the scissor back. Okay, so let's take a look at the papers that we're going to use. So we can actually use, gonna cut, I cut 6x6, so we can get 4 to a page. So we will have repetition, but we're gonna have like 2. I always gotta adjust my basura, my garbage can over here. So let's just pick anything. These are all very pretty. Let's just go through it. You've got advertisements, you've got cards. I wouldn't use this necessarily because the cards might be something we could cut apart and stick into this item. So let's hold off on that. We've got this with this lovely luxury kind of thing. You are gonna see both sides. We've got this what is this called? I don't know what it's called, but it's got like this green farm, I don't know, and you get 2 of each, right? Lovely, nice and bright. You even get some foils in here on the back of some pink. I don't want to do the foil though. You got this guy. So with this one, if we cut this into 6s, we're gonna have some that will have a lot of stuff going on, and then one that doesn't. So we can do that, right? This one would have a nice variation. This one, the same thing. A lot, not much going on. Maybe we'll do this one. Some gold foil, don't want to pull that. These cards are cute, but I think cutting them into cards is a little bit of a nicer idea. I like this one. We've got the advertising subtle on the back, and this is cute. So let's pick, we got to do 12, right? I kind of want to do sparkle, but I kind of don't. This is more of a cut apart. I wouldn't use that. So let's grab this one. Okay, so we're gonna get 2 out of that, and we will use the other side for something else. Let's go and grab, not the cut apart sheet. Let's grab this one. We can get 2 out of that, and then we can, well, we'll stick with 2. I don't want to get too many of the same. So we'll wind up cutting those into 6s. We can get 4 out of this because we can do 2, 3, 4, and there's enough variation in the design. So that's another 4. So we've got 2 to 8. All right, I think. And then kind of like this one, same thing. We'll have some variation, and we have this interesting little pattern on the back that I'll show you again. And let's just let's take a cut apart sheet so that we can maybe do a little something with them and add them to the situation that's going on over here. And I think that's it, right? We need a 12, so we're gonna cut 2 from here, 4 from here. That's 4. We're gonna cut 4 from here, and this is kind of meh, so we'll just cut 2 from there. So 4 and 4 is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to see what this would look like if we cut that. All right, so we have our papers for our 12 and some little cut aparts. Okay, now let's get into it. Let's get into the pieces that we need to cut. Now the envelope we already measured was a 5x5, so we want to cut the paper down to 5-inch tall and 6-inch wide. So let's start with the one that might be the most difficult to maybe think about, and that would be this one. So let's see here. Let me adjust you a little bit so you can see a little bit more over here. So I want to use this as my my go-to. Now I can do it where I would look at it this way, right? So let's see here, right? We would lose a little bit of the B. In either case, doesn't really matter. The B's leg is going bye-bye. So I'm going to cut it this way, and we're going to cut it at the 5. So we're going to match up the height that we need first. So here we go at 5. This is going to get put over there for now. And then we're going to cut this into 6. Okay. And I'll show you in a minute why 6. Okay. We're going to do 6. What happened here? Did I forget how 6 is supposed to look? No, it's just a little bit on. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the branding strip, but I don't know. That's so weird. We'll keep that for our stash, right? So we're looking to see that we have it match the 5 and that we have it match the 6. So let's cut them all into 5 by 6 pieces, right? So that was our first one with this one. So, oh yeah, because of the branding strip. That's why when I did it this way. So with this one, I'm gonna cut. We're gonna do only 2, right? Because it's a nice pattern, but it's all right. We're gonna cut this at 5. So I'm gonna cut this at 5. Okay, get that out the way. Okay, so we have the 5, and then we're gonna do this at 6. Okay, all right, so we have that, so that's 2. Then with this one, we're going to cut this again to 5. So we're going to do the heights first. 5, and so the branding strip is over here, so this is a little off, but we're going to do this at 5, and then we're going to do another 5. This is going to be our scrap. We're going to put it over there, and then we're going to turn them to cut them to 6. Okay, 6, and then another one at 6. Okay, so now we're up to what we said, 4, and we had one more sheet of papel. So we're gonna do the same thing. Yes, 12 by 12 studio. 5. Okay. Another 5. And then we're gonna do our 6s. 6. Okay, and our 6s. We're not done cutting, but I just want this is our first set of cuts. Okay, so basically what was done, I'm gonna need to cut a couple things and also score, is that we have an envelope which we're going to create a little opening flap, and this flap will be like a little tuck spot. This could be journaling space, especially since it's on white, and then this flap we can add a little pocket or something else to it. So that's where these little bits might come into play. So that's what we're gonna do, guys. So we need to do some more cutting. So the first thing we want to do is we want to cut that 1.5. So we want to cut the 1.5 piece. Okay. So I want to do that, and I want to keep them together with an envelope. I don't want them to mix and match and have to think about where's the pattern, none of that. So 1.5. That's going to be for this one. 1.5 again. Yes, so I had a bunch of other things planned. I don't know what I was doing. If you've been watching this whole month, I've done so many weird kooky things. I saw this and I was like, oh, you know what? It's a few steps, but it's a basic idea. It's cute. And I said, why not bring that to the table? It's a little simple cutting and some gluing and we're good. So 1.5 is just, you know, precision. But we're like halfway there because we pretty much can glue. We don't have to ink. That's not a requirement. If you don't want to ink, you don't have to ink. So we're just stacking them up. And so almost. Okay. So after this, we are going to need to do a hinge on the paper, because we need to attach the decorative paper to what's the envelope. Now, when I watched the video with Gayle, Miss Gayle, she made hinges, and I was sitting there like, oh, come on. Not, oh, come on, like, you know, like, what is she doing? Like, oh, come on. This is a lot of work. So I was like, why can't we just make the hinge from the paper that we were cutting for the cover, right? Or for the embellishment. So that's why I'm doing it the way that I'm doing it, because I'm going to utilize that paper as well to make the hinge. And it won't be that noticeable because this is double-sided paper. Now, do you have to use double-sided paper? Of course not. You can have an interior that is completely white. You can have envelopes that are different colors. It is all up to what you have in your stash and the look that you want to go for. So, but I figured this paper, I had gotten it. It was super cheap, inexpensive. It's decent quality in terms of like the thickness. It's not super thin. It's not super thick where it's going to crack or anything like that. Right? So there we go. So now we have all of those. Okay. So now we have to, let's show you what's going to happen. We're going to glue this down onto the onto the envelope right there. We're going to position this so that it matches. See, what did I do? I messed it up. There we go. And what I want to do is I want to make the hinge, and then I'll be able to fold it over, and then the inside it'll go like that. Easy peasy. So we cut it at 6. We know that the envelope is 5. We're going to just score now at 1 inch. Okay, and just a light score. Okay. So now I'm going to shift over here for my next phase, right? So some of these look like they may need some additional decoration, like this guy, but we can always do that, right? That's why I wanted to keep everything orientation wise and together, because I wanted to make sure I knew what side I had to cut off of, right? So that side. Okay. Okay, so that's that. And we're going to cut off this side 1 inch. Not cut, score, sorry. Score at 1 inch. Okay. And keep it going, keep it going. So we're making 12. I think that's a good amount to have in your stash. And what you can do is you can also decorate the other side if you want. You can leave. I have an idea for that, so we might throw that out there depending upon how, you know, well, how long the video is. If I can make it short, I'll try to make it short. But if it has to go long, it's gonna go long. So, you know. But if you use a different color envelope, or if you coffee dye them beforehand. See, I didn't have that in my thoughts in this moment, so I didn't coffee dye them. I was good with the white ones. But you could ink, like we said, we could ink around, we could leave it white. It's all up to you. So maybe coffee dye. You can coffee dye after the fact with just a little coffee, hit it, and then, you know, keep it moving. Okay. Just making sure I don't score on the wrong side. Okay. So, yeah. So, how have you been enjoying your Mass Make March? This is my first time participating in this. I actually got really into doing junk journaling stuff. Actually, like I didn't do Mass Make March. I think I watched it for the first time. Of course, we discovered all the biggies, right? Seven Plaza, Crafty by Tony, Gayle Castanelli, you know, all these lovely ladies. Kathy's Garden, you know, Joey DeFee, so many more. So, just because I want to be ready, I'm going to take this cut apart and just cut apart for a moment, because why not? Okay, let's just get her done while we have the board out. We don't have to take the board out again. Okay, so I'm cutting off the branding strip. Nothing. Oh, there's something interesting. I can keep that. And then we're going to cut across our cards. Thank you for the line that it has on there, nice and dark that I could see, even over there. Okay. And I'm going to, yes. I was watching somebody else, Tommy, I think. I'm not sure. She was making an Asian, beautiful Asian journal. She was like in her third part of her series, and she and mind you, this is not the same time as now because I'm, you know, recording in advance. But she did the same thing. She's I should turn you. You know, we can't see. I got my glasses on, but I need to still do my what do you call it? Oh, my cutting down here because it's close to my face, basically. So, oh look, I cut off the branding strip, and yet somehow we still have this divot. That's no, you know what? That might be why it's an Ollie's too, because if it had an irregularity. So we'll adjust that with doing some kind of edging punch or something like that. That's not a big deal. Okay. All right. So we have all the bits that we need cut. Okay. We've got our tabs. We've got something to put inside. Oh, it's a little long. I can adjust that. Something to put inside this so we can show you that. So I'm going to pause. Put you on pause. I'm going to do all the inking. You don't need to watch me ink. And then we'll come back and we'll assemble. If that sounds good, then, you know, I'll be back in a second for you, but it'll be a minute for me, but that's okay. You don't need to know how long it's taking me. All right, I shall be back. Okay, so we are back. Everything is inked, and let's put it together. So the components that we have, the main ones, are the envelope. Oh, I got it into the ink. The panel that we cut at 6 inches because we have the hinge being created, so we need to glue that down like this. And then the little tabs that we have, we're going to add those little tabs onto this, and it's going to be a little fun feature and also a way of having a closure. I also did ink the little cards that go inside, so let's put it together. We're going to glue this one down as a tuck, so therefore we're not going to glue all of it. We're just going to glue the top, the edge that goes to the edge of the envelope. Oops, I went a little far. That's all right. And the bottom. Okay, and we're going to glue that down top to bottom right there on the edge. Okay, now that'll give us a nice little tuck there. Now we want to glue this guy right there to match up. And so this what do you call it? So this may or may not happen because these are machine made things. So it depends on what really is going to be the thing that's going to bother you the most. So if you straighten that edge out, right, you're going to have a little bit of a gap, but then you could put the tag there to kind of distract from that. So it's really up to you. If it's more important that this matches, then you're going to line that up. You have this, you can always put ink on the edge there. So we're going to cover the hinge on the back to the edge, all the way down. So even though the envelopes were designed and listed as being a 5x5, again, it's not, there's, you know, precision can sometimes be a little bit off. So I am making sure that they match up at the picture. And then once I do that, I'm going to just press it down and the glue will catch to my envelope. Okay, I'm going to burnish this with my nail so it stays flat. So now we have our little hinge. It's cute, right? This is going to be, you know, you can put whatever you want there. Here's some space that could be for writing. We're going to take a card, you know, we're going to tuck it in there so it has a nice little tuck spot. And then what we're going to do is we're going to attach a hinge. We're going to attach a tab right there. So we're going to open up our tab, put glue on the entire one side, on the bottom or curved side of this one, and then we're going to place it in here, close it up, make sure it's lining up. That's how I like to do my tabs. They line up that way. And now this will just tuck in there as a closure. Cutesy, right? That's a really cutesy idea that Miss Gayle came up with. And then all the other little bits and pieces that I have around, right, namely the other pieces of the card, I cut them down and I inked them up so that I could add a little pocket in here. Now again, because of irregularities, this might stick out, and that's fine. I'm just going to put glue over here down on the bottom to make a nice little narrow little pocket. Okay, and I'm going to put this down. I'm going to close it because I want to make sure that it can close, and I'm going to make sure that it's straight, a little bit of wiggle room, not too much. And I do have a little bit of overage because I think it pushes it out, because I measured it to be about this size when I cut them down. Okay. And there we go. Now we have a nice little pocket here. We can add a little more inking there, which you could do later. And now we have a little pocket here. This will not fit in there, so you would maybe do a little smaller tag or something of that nature. All right. So I think this is a really cute little mask make. So let's make a couple of others. And yeah. So again, this right here, if it really bothers you, you could, like I said, ink it out. And then you have the pocket in the back. You could fill it with goodies, right? You could figure out some other kind of closure, maybe a Velcro dot, depending upon the thickness of this. Another thing that you could do, but I'm not going to do it here, but I'm just going to let you know, is if you got some strips, right? You could cut a couple of these little strips. And then all you can do is just maybe put a little strip here, from here to here, right? Or maybe across the whole thing. Okay. I don't know. Let's just do it, because why not? Oh, let's do the yellow side. It's not inked. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's an example. Ah! I'm going to put ink. I'm going to put glue on here. I'm going to go through the middle-ish, right? So I can use a strip from the paper, kind of, because, you know, all the colors coordinate. And once that's glued down, okay, I can have a closure. We can just tuck it in here, and it's going to be able to be open and closed. So these are optional. I mean, she didn't address them that I noticed in the video, so we're just going to continue with the construction. So let's do a few more, and then, you know, you'll have the idea of what this mask make entails. I mean, it could be easily done as a mask make because you do each thing in phases. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that I have the connection correctly. This is where I'm not going to glue, so let's add the glue up here, down here, and then across over here. Okay. I'm going to bring this to the envelope. Okay. All right. And then on this one, I'm going to put adhesive all over here. To the edge. Just fill in a little bit to the inside. This is our glitter glue, it's going to hold. Okay, for me, I really want to make sure that this is lined up. So I'm going to line up my picture. I'm going to pull in the edge, and I'm going to make sure that it looks good. It's off again because they're not perfect, and this, I like the way that this looks. Being perfect is more important. Now we can put the tab in the middle. If it conflicts with what you're doing here, you can put the tab a little lower, right? Let's see. Let's put the white tab. Why not? Because it kind of goes with the florals. Okay, so let's put the adhesive. And then over here, I don't need to put all the way because down here, because it's on the other side already. Gonna bring this down here. Okay, Close that up. Make sure that it lands where I like it to land, right at the top at the edge of the little. Open this up. Okay. Let's grab a card. Let's just grab anything. One of those little things. Let's grab a white little pocket. Now it's a little close to it. That's okay. I'm gonna need to cut that slightly. So I'm gonna cut that slightly because it would push it out, but I had the tab in the way, but that's okay. So just, you know, like that. Perfect. Okay. Yes, it's not inked. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Okay. All right. There we go. So now we have that little pocket there, right? So we can easily put something in here. And we have our little tuck, and then we pop that there. And we go. There we go. We have our little pocket. Okay, let's go. Let's go into another. Okay. So this has to turn around. Make sure I have the orientation. Make sure my envelope is the right way up. And now we're going to put the adhesive. Okay, so I have 12 of these made. They're going to be made. So I have a nice little stash, you know, 12 journals for sure. Because, you know, this is like a 1-in-1. This is a pocket. This is a ephemera holder, goodie bag, however you want to phrase it. It's a specialty item, I think, that would go into a journal. It also could be mass, what is it called? What's the word? Oh, Happy Mail. Definitely Happy Mail is an option here. So I'm going to line up my picture, right? Make sure, and then as I bring it down, I make sure that I push that flap in, okay? So, good, like that. The little peaches, okay? I'm going to take a card. Let's just tuck anything in here. That's a little too close to what's in there, so let's grab this one. Nope. let's grab a different one. Let's grab this one. Okay, blue one. Now we want to put a thing on here. I think you know what, I'll use one of these. Why not? I'll put it up here because it doesn't conflict with the picture. Okay, and then put our adhesive. Oops. Okay. All right. Glue it down. There it goes. And here we already put a little tuck thing. So now we want to put our pocket down here. Now you can put whatever you want. You can put a pocket down here, you know. You can do it from the thing. I'm using this because I maximized the card. I cut it open and I used it for the tags. I don't want to, you know, get rid of the rest of it, you know. Not could go into my stash, but yes. All right. There we go. Nice. It's kind of like, you know, the color is kind of subtle, so you really don't see it, but then you have the inking to kind of show you that something's going on there. So I like that little like hidden kind of situation. So again, we have this one, right? Nope, this way. It's not matching up. This might have been cutesy. So like if you wanted to, you could also do it on the other side. I didn't ink the other side, but that would have been also an option. So you have double-sided paper. Is this one? No, I like this pretty floral side first and foremost. But we could change it up, right? And I could put this like that, but I didn't ink it, so we're not going to do that. But it's an option. You could do a solid. You could do a solid panel. Here on this little skinny piece, you know, and then put the picture. You could do it all solid and then put a focal image on here, kind of like a card matting situation. You know, there's options, there's options. Use the papers you have, and you know, if they're smaller, you can still do this. Just, you know, play around with it. Play around with it. Okay, that's there. Let's put our glue on this side. Needs to fill her up again. Art. I was trying to name this, right? Because like we're all calling it art, but like, you know, because of Margaret, right? We're all calling it art. Ooh. But I'm like, yeah, but we all should have like a basic name that it's like the shortened version of it. And I was like, I don't know why I was thinking about in another video, I had said Archibald, but I'm thinking I'd be calling all my stuff she, so I think she's Artemis. But I don't remember what Artemis does in the Greek mythology. So I kind of feel like I need to look that up. Okay. If you know and you want to put in the comments and help me out, because I probably will forget, by all means, that would be nice. Okay, so we got that thing here. Let's grab one of these. We're going to put that there. We need a card. Let's just grab the olives. They look cutesy. Okay. I feel like I'm saying a lot of things that I hear a lot of the other YouTube creators say, and also some of the sounds because I have been, or maybe I'm just noticing that I also make these sounds. Like, you know, I don't know, I'm kooky. Okay, it's a little tiny slight overhang, so we'll just do that. Snip. There we go. All right, pop it in. It's pretty quick. It goes pretty quick. I'm working slow. I'm not trying to rush and you know, be like, you know, super fast. Okay. And stuff. Oh yeah, I need to fill her up so I don't have to do that whole shaking arm thing, trying to get the glue to the front. But it's okay. I only got 2 more. So if you have been counting, then you know I haven't done all 12 on camera. I did do inking and whatnot off camera, and then I also decided to do a few of them because you're not going to need to see me do this, you know, 12 times. But I wanted to go do it a few times so that at least you got the hang of it, right? And if things popped into my head, so like when I was watching her video, she was adding like flips and stuff and drop downs, but because her envelopes were much larger than this envelope, you know, that would work. So she would have envelope open, she would have something else could possibly pop down. Let's we have this one. Let's put this bad boy in here. Okay, we have 2 left. We have a white and we have a gold. So these will go in my stash because I just cut up everything. So let's put it up here. We can cover part of the pineapple. Most of it's on the other. So put it on there, put it over here. Yeah. So assemblage in the process. Okay, squish it down nice and flat. Let's add our little pocket in there. Okay, so glue. Yeah, so I don't even, this is later in May. Oh my goodness, I'm changing the months on myself. It's later in March. And so it's been great doing March Madness, like I was mentioning it earlier. And so if you have, I've asked every now and then, anybody that you've seen something like, whoa, so cool, please, you know, let me know who they are. That'd be awesome. Okay, so our final one, and then we'll take a look at all of them. And we'll say our goodbyes until the next time. Hopefully you return. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so yeah, if anybody has done something like, wow, that was cool, you know, and it wasn't me, I said, then please let me know who they are. I'm watching the mask make on a regular. I'm trying to pull up that hashtag all every week, you know, the weekends and stuff like that, and try to catch up with everybody's little make. But yeah, I might miss some, you know. Okay, let's do our adhesive on this side. And yeah, so if you've never done Mass Make March, like I said earlier, this is my first time doing it. Do you think you might be joining in the fun next year? Because, you know, you were inspired by what you have seen from the different creators. So now it's going to top the cherries, cover the cherries or cover the flowers. I think covering the cherries is going to have to happen. At least one of the cherries, because the other cherry is right there. Okay. Would you join in the fun next year? Okay. Did you enjoy videos that were different? Because I know we're all doing very similar things, and we are doing stuff that we've done before, and we're repeating things from the year before. Some of the creators are doing that, and that's fine, right? You always need more stuff for your stash. All right, this is gonna have to be trimmed down, so that's okay. That's all right. Let's go down here. There. Let's go. I think it's gonna need that much of a trimmage, so we're going to put that in here. So I'm gonna squish that down. Yeah. Wow, that one is really extreme. It's weird because I think it's when I cut these pieces out, I kind of just like eyeball things, I guess. Okay, so we are done with the mask make. Basically, you know, we did 6 together, but we did cut everything together. We did talk about the pieces that we would need, and so now let's take a look at all of them. So each one has a card. It has a tuck spot, a little extra pocket. You can decorate this. They can journal over here. You could add more paper if you wanted to. You have a little closure. You can do some more decoration if it needs it. And then you can fill in the pockets with stuff. And then you slip it in, or you send it as Happy Mail, but it would need to be put into another envelope. Right? So maybe like a 6x9. A 5x7 probably wouldn't work because it's the same width. So let me move you a little bit. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All of them have little irregularities, again, because of the construction of the envelopes being machine shopped. It's not a precision. You would think so, but there is shifting. All right, so you have 12, right? And in terms of the backs, they're basically all the same, and you could do something up like this with a strip that coordinates to help you close it up. But yeah, so this is my mask make for today. Thank you so much for coming. If you're new, please consider subscribing and coming back again. If you've been here for a minute, thank you so much. Thank you so much for keep coming back. Anyway, comments, like, I've asked so many questions, you know, you could answer 1 or 2. And but yeah, until next time, ciao ciao, bye.